What's happening, people? I hope you're all well. So I'm out here. It is back to the cloudy, grey UK. And for those who are not from the UK, welcome to autumn in the UK. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, in this video, I'm going to talk about red flags that indicate that you're not interacting with the best woman for you. And again, you know, there are guys, you know, on the women's side of things, there are definitely guys who indicate red flags, huge red flags. There are certainly guys that I would recommend women avoid, but again, this channel is about men's issues and problems that men face. And, you know, I've got another channel for the ladies as well, so, you know, it's not all a one-sided thing. But with regards to this video, red flags that indicate that you may not be dealing with the best woman. The first one, and this video is fully off the cuff. Listen, I'm a busy person, I'm sure a lot of you are, I appreciate that. But sometimes I have an idea and then I'm like, let me jot down some ideas, and I never get down to jotting the ideas. The video just flows off the tongue. So let's see how this video rolls. So the first one, make sure I cross here. Some people don't stop, you know. Some people don't stop. So the first one is and this is going to be one that surprises you. She talks too much at the start. Now, initially, a lot of guys who maybe aren't as experienced in the dating market, you start talking to a woman and she floods you with attention, that she floods you with non-stop attention. You're going to think, wow, this is going somewhere, this is great. She's, you know, normally, typically speaking, if you're talking to a woman, when she's unsure of you or she's just getting to know you, she's not going to be sending paragraphs at first or being really bubbly at the start. Maybe it's a little bit different when you're face to face, but definitely online, she's not going to be sending paragraphs after the first message. But every now and then you're going to run into a woman who paragraphs you and sends you chunkers after like the first few messages. And you're thinking, wow, this is going somewhere. Actually, from my experience, those are the women that fade off the fastest. So, you know, those are the women that fade off the fastest in my experience. You message her, she messages you back with paragraphs. She's saying she really likes you and she wants it to go somewhere, and you're calling each other every day after like not even a couple of days. Those are the women where it tends to fade off fast in my experience. So that's the first red flag. You know, you talk to a woman, you're sending loads of messages right from the off. You open up a message and it's just a paragraph that you weren't expecting. That often is an indicator that it started fast and it's going to fade off fast. The next one is you know, this is just, you get that feeling in your stomach that something's not right. You know, like when you're talking to a woman, she's saying the right things, she's maybe even doing the right things, but you just get this feeling in your stomach, in your gut, and in your heart that there's something else to this story. There's something that she just ain't telling you. There's something that she ain't telling you. Like something a bit booky. And you can just tell by the way she messages you, her stories, every time she updates her status on Facebook or Instagram, or she updates her story, you get like a feeling in the pit of your stomach that it could be the worst. Like you're expecting, even though she's not said anything, it's like every story that she puts up, you're clicking on the story thinking, is it a new guy? Is it something I don't want to see? So I would always recommend that you follow your heart and you follow your gut in all instances, because your gut never fails you and your heart's never wrong. So yeah, number 2, feeling in your gut that something's off. The next red flag is that she's she's acting off when it comes to, she never wants to make a date. She wants to talk, but she never wants to make a date. Like, you two always seem to be planning to meet up, but it never actually happens. This is where you could be just being used as an emotional tampon, or, excuse my language, you could just be, you know, you just could be getting used. You know, you could be getting used as like emotional support or someone to vent out frustration. You know, you could just be getting used, and that's why, you know, she's talking to you. So she's keeping, it's a clever psychological tactic, keeping you close enough to be interested, but keeping you further, or keeping you close enough to feel that you have a chance, but keeping you further away enough so that it, one, keeps you keen, and two, you're not fully, you know, you're not fully there. So like, it's almost like you're so close you can touch it, but you're not touching it. So women who you're talking, you're having deep, meaningful conversation, she's showing a little bit of interest in you, she's called you hot a few times, and then it's like, okay, let's meet up. Yeah, I agree, we should meet up. Oh, so when do you want to meet up? Oh, I'll let you know, or I just need to clear my schedule, or next week's going to be really busy, but potentially the next week after that. Most women, because women, the average woman finds it easier to set something up than the average guy. Most women have at least a guy that they're talking to. That's just the way it is. Most women, or if they haven't got a guy that they're talking to, most women have a guy that is inboxing them or pursuing them. So the chances are you're not the only one. And the chances are, if she's not meeting up with you, there's a good chance that she's meeting up with someone else, and you're just there as emotional support. Someone to vent out frustration. Maybe the bad boy she's dating doesn't got time for all that. You know, he hasn't got time, but you do. And so she's talking to you for emotional support and getting, you know, having fun, so to speak, with the guy that she's sexually attracted to. So that's the other red flag. You know, she's meeting up with you, and just, excuse me, she's talking to you, but she's not meeting up with you. That's always a red flag for me. The next red flag that I want to talk about here is she's always flaking on your dates. She's always flaking on dates. So you do actually arrange dates to meet up. Let's meet up. Cool. And then on the day of the day, oh, sorry, something came up, or you know, or even worse, she doesn't even tell you, and she just doesn't show up. So for me, that's a red flag. And for me, if a woman cancels on me, it's not a big deal, because typically speaking with me, I'm such a busy person, there's always something for me to be getting on with. I'm normally getting on with things until I'm actually meeting the woman. So especially like if you're meeting a new prospect, like you should have something else planned in place in case it doesn't work, because you don't know that person, she don't know you. Like, you don't know, you're meeting a total stranger in truth be told. So you shouldn't really have your heart set on anything definitely happening. So I always have another plan, and there's always something for me to be getting on with in case it doesn't actually happen. So yeah, but if a woman does that to you the first time, I would say, cool, that's absolutely fine, no problem, things come up. And then I'll leave it to her because she's the one who let me down, I'll leave it up to her to set up a new date. If she don't ask me for a new date, then I'll maybe leave it a few weeks before suggesting we meet up again. Then on round two, or she suggests a new date, that's what you want, because that shows that there's more chance that she wasn't messing you about and she is interested and something did genuinely come up. And a woman who's interested in you isn't going to want to leave things like uncertain in terms of meeting, because if she knows that you're hot, on demand, you know, she knows all these things and that other women want you, she's going to be subconsciously aware of that, and she's gonna want to make sure that she's the one who gets the meet up. So she's gonna say, oh, sorry, this came up, but can we do this instead? Can we meet on this day instead? So if she does that, then cool, she's genuinely, most likely is more genuine. But if she doesn't arrange for a new meet up, then I'm probably gonna leave it a few weeks, try again. But either way, no matter what, if it doesn't work out the first time, that's 100% fine. Things come up, I get that. But if it's the second time, I'm a little less convinced. But yeah, sure, things can come up twice. You can't do me 3 times. Like on the third time, I would say nah. So if a woman's always arranging to meet and the meet never actually happens, I know as a guy, like in the past, like it makes you more keen. It makes you like, oh man, I can't meet her. So it makes her value go up in your eyes. You want to meet her, meet her even more. Don't do it. Trust me. I've got the weariness and the experience. I know it rarely works out. So, you know, twice is like reasonable. 3 times is like, she flops on you 3 times. 9 times out of 10, you're better off pursuing someone who values your time a little bit more. So that's one there. But you know, say she does meet you, the next red flag with a woman that you're seeing is that she does meet you, but she's always late. So let's say a woman was dating Mbappe, or let's say dating Idris Elba or Brad Pitt. Do you think for a second that she's going to be late? Probably not. But why is that? Because she knows that if, you know, he's a busy guy, he's on demand, he could get with whoever he wants to get with almost. And if you're late and you screw that up, he's going to just go and meet someone else who's not going to screw up. So that's why when she's dating Brad Pitt, Mbappe, Cristiano Ronaldo, like all of these famous people, Drake, she's not going to be late to those dates. Now, I'm not saying, I get it, the hierarchy, you know, in the sexual marketplace, everyone has a different value, I get that. But the idea is, yeah, if she's not going to be late to meet those people, why should you accept that? Are you not a living, breathing human being like the people I just mentioned? So why should you accept being treated like dirt? You shouldn't. So she's meeting you, but she's always late. In her mind, she's like, oh, he'll show up. Because I dated an older woman when I was a younger man. I dated an older woman. A lot of guys go through that phase. And I remember her saying that the guy she was marrying, she was late to the wedding. And I think one of her friends, if I remember rightly, when she told me, she was like, one of her friends or family or whatever was like, oh, aren't you worried he's gonna go? Aren't you worried? And she was like, no, he'll be there. Like, that's the complacency, do you know what I mean? So she obviously didn't value him, and the fact that me and her were dating, like, it shows you that she didn't value her husband. And you know, like the fact that she ended up ending it with him, or they ended it, or whatever, it just shows you there was dynamic problems in that relationship. So the fact of the matter is, you know, she doesn't respect you, it's not going to work out. And the other thing is, she's always late. That's a sign of disrespect. So she was late to the wedding, and they're not married anymore. Or I don't know if they got the divorce, but they weren't together. So at the end of the day, you got to think of it like this. If you're taking time out of your scheduled day and time on this earth to spend time with another human being, and she's like an hour late every time, that's an indication that she doesn't respect you. And that's a red flag, in my opinion, and an indication that you should just move on. Because as much as, and a lot of the tactics that women, and I've never dated a guy, and you know, I have no plans to, and I'm not going to, but I'm guessing just narcissistic people in general, you know, have no problem disrespecting other people. So, you know, if you're dating a woman and she's always late, I would say that she doesn't respect your time. She doesn't value you as a person. So, you know, I would just see that as a red flag and move on. So the last one that I'm going to want to talk about is more when you're actually in a relationship. It's always, or I would say, not even that. I've got a better point than that. The last one I'm going to mention is that you're always putting in more effort than her. So if you're always putting in more effort and you're always the one who's setting up dates, you're always the one who's talking first, you're always the one who's writing more, that's an indicator, that's a red flag that she probably has one foot in, one foot out with regards to you two. And in that instance, you know, if she's non-committal, one foot in, one foot out, you're all in, you know, unfortunately with the way that human psychology works, that gives her the power play in that relationship between you two. And unfortunately, oftentimes the one who cares the least has the power, and she has the power in that situation. She's not as invested in you as you are in her. And, you know, with regards to nature and biology, it actually helps when the woman is slightly, not fully, but slightly more interested in the guy than the guy is in the woman. That tends to be when relationships work out a little bit more, and that tends to be the nature and biological strong point, historically speaking and biologically speaking. You know, you're both into each other, but it's the guy who he's a little bit, not too much, but a little bit less interested than she is. It kind of helps like that, you know. Like it works like this, you know, the guy is slightly, you know, the children, I would say it's like the children it's like biological. So typically speaking, I would say that it just kind of works like that. My brain's not fully working. I can't remember the why in terms of the biological standpoint, so I'm not going to stand on the point too much. But yeah, if the guy is slightly less interested, at least to begin with, that tends to be when it works out. So if you're right off the bat, and without getting long-winded with this, right off the bat, you know, it helps if she's more into you. And that's coming back to me. So right off the bat, she needs to be a little bit more interested in you than you are in her. But as time goes on, that's when she wins you over, and then you are maybe a little bit more interested in her. That's the biological order of things, because when you have a family, it's the guy who cares slightly more for the woman, and the guy will care slightly more for the woman than the woman cares for the guy. And the woman will care about the children more than the children care about her. It's not to say that you all love each other, but that's the survival mechanism placed in nature and biology. But at first, it's like the dating scene is like a little ritual and a dance and a ritual. So, but to begin with, for her to win you over, so that, you know, you need to be less interested in her. So at least when you're starting to date, you need to be less into her than she is into you. That's how it works. So if you, right from the bat, are more into her than she is into you, then that's a red flag that it's not going to work out. It's not even a red flag on her, you know, necessarily. It's just the way things have worked out. And it's an indication that your relationship may not work out, because she's got nothing to win over. There's no challenge if you're more into her right off the bat. So anyway, let me go over those points again. Red flags for when you're dating women. She doesn't get back to, she's always messing around with your dates. So you arrange a date and she's always saying, yeah, let's meet up, but it never actually happens. The other one is that she's always late, because she ain't gonna be late to date Brad Pitt, is she? The other one is that there's something that you just feel is off and you can't quite figure it out. You can't quite figure out what is off about it. And also, you're more into her than she is into you. And the first one, I can't even remember. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna have to rewind to remember the first one. It was a good one as well. But yeah, like essentially, these are some red flags with regards to women, or not women, but these are red flags with regards to indications that there is another woman out there that you should be dating rather than the one you're pursuing. Anyway, let me know what you think. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, hit the notification bell so you get a notification when I make a new video. If you appreciate my work and want to leave a donation, there's a link for that in the description. With that, enjoy the rest of your day. See you on the next one.